What's up, everybody? Today is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. And today's dog thought is going to be on leash pressure. What is it? What are the differences in it? And how do we best use it to train our dogs in the most effective and humane way possible? So that's what we're going to talk about today. So there are 3 types of leash pressure. And before we get to that, let me define it. So leash pressure is just pressure from the leash, from the handler, to the dog's collar, whatever the dog is wearing. And the pressure can be a constant pressure. It can be an intermittent pressure where it's like you're snapping your fingers on off. Or it can be a constant negative pressure. So those are kind of the 3 kinds. What we want to stay away from is the constant negative pressure in a bad way that's making the dog actually continue to do the behavior that we don't want. So let me give you an example of that. An example of that is you have a reactive dog. You're out walking your dog sees another dog and it wants to go to that dog, either because it's excited or because it's reactive, aggressive, frustrated, whatever it is. The dog wants to go there and it's not paying you any mind. It's at the end of the leash and you're holding on. And so you have a constant leash pressure on the dog, which creates the dog, or what makes the dog want to pull even more to get to that other dog or that distraction. So a good way to think of it is think of 2 guys that are fighting, or they want to fight, and their buddies are holding them back, right? And they're like, hey, no, don't do this, man. You don't need to do it. And the guy's like, let me at him, right? It's that kind of pulling back makes the dog want to be even more frustrated and desire to get over to that thing, whatever that thing is. So that would be an example of constant leash pressure applied in an incorrect manner, which only creates or keeps that behavior going that we don't want. So that's the first kind of leash pressure. The second kind of leash pressure, with that same example but in a different way, would be using leash pressure to guide a dog towards us, or maybe into something that they need to go in, like their crate. So you might have a dog that is not used to the crate, doesn't want to go into the crate, and there's all sorts of ways that we can make a dog go into a crate and accept it and like it. But for the purposes of this discussion, we're only talking about leash pressure. So an example of leash pressure used appropriately in that scenario would be the dog is on a leash, it's in front of the crate, it's facing the crate, it doesn't want to go in, it's got its paws in there and it's like, I'm not going. And we apply leash pressure towards the crate and we hold it there. So the dog's under leash pressure, the dog's like this, I don't want to do it. And then they finally give and they put one paw towards the crate. And then we as the handler take the pressure off and we reward the dog with a verbal marker. Like, good job, yeah, keep going. That's the direction I want you to go. So that's an example of leash pressure used appropriately to get the dog to do what we want him to do. And then the last example of leash pressure would be a corrective type leash pressure, which is on-off, very snappy. So we're snapping with the leash one time and we're saying, hey, don't do that. And what that creates is the sense of, or it kind of simulates like a dog bite. So if you see dogs playing in a dog park and one dog has had enough with another dog, there's all different kinds of bites. But a lot of the bites that you'll see are like a snappy bite, where the dog snaps and is like, yeah, get out of here. So it's not like, I want to fight you, I want to kill you. It's just, I've had enough of you, go away, right? That is what we are trying to simulate when we pop with the leash. So if we go back to our very first example, where we have a dog who is reactive on the leash and sees another dog, what we can do in that scenario is the dog is going to build and build and build and then explode and want to go. And I don't recommend doing this on your own. Get with a trainer that can help you. I'm just trying to give you examples of snappy with the leash. So that would be, the dog is building. My leash is loose. And the dog finally goes, and when he goes, I go, hey, don't do that. And I snap with the leash, and I turn and I walk the other way. And what that creates with the dog is, we're trying to snap him out of it. We're saying, hey, that's not acceptable. You should have been with me this whole time and you weren't. Another example would be a dog jumping on somebody. So we have the leash in our hand, our friend comes over, my dog goes to jump up on my friend, and I snap with the leash and I say, hey, don't do that. And the dog goes, oh, and all paws go on the floor, right? And then the dog goes to jump again, and I go, hey, don't do that. And he goes, oh. And then what we want to see is the dog wants to jump, and then they keep it in their paw, and they use self-control, and they keep 4 paws on the floor, and then we reward that. Yeah, good job. That's what we want. So those are some different examples of leash pressure. That's some very simple ways of how we apply it in our day-to-day lives with our dogs. But hopefully that's helpful for you when you are taking your dog out today. Be thinking about, am I putting pressure on this leash? The only time I want to put pressure on the leash is if my dog is misbehaving. And when I do apply that pressure, it needs to be in a structured manner. So either we're snapping with the leash, or we're using leash pressure to guide our dog into something or away from something. Those are kind of the ways that we want to utilize that leash pressure. So that's it for leash pressure today. Those are your dog thoughts for today. I hope you have a great day. Happy training, and we will see you next time.